Welcome back. You join us live as we go into race 2 of week 2 right here on Cadesport as we continue the entirely thrilling and certainly has kept me on the edge of my seat 4-week series of races here on Cadesport with the Pro Power system that powers them. So where are we racing today? Well, we continue in Cade Fondo. So let's take a look. So this is to my trained eye at least, the Dolomite inspired Cade Fondo right here in Cadesport, which might remind roadies of courses and towns at the foothills of, or certainly the peaks of the Dolomites. So we won't see any tight corners here, instead nice gentle sweeping corners. And as we get into this seaside resort here that you're seeing on screen now, that's when we'll know we're approximately halfway into the map. As we hit this industrial area, we'll leave that area going into an incline that has beautiful views out to the ocean. As we come through a walled and tunneled area going through the mountains, that's when we'll know that we're kind of turning into those final few kilometers. So the physical equalization system that powers the Pro Power mode right here in Cadesport is fantastic. It allows riders to stay together. Essentially what happens is it's a very powerful algorithm that takes the base number of any rider and bumps it up to that of a pro cyclist. It'll allow riders to push together, stay together, so whoever wants to win today is certainly going to have to hit beyond their 100% threshold and really show us what they're made of. And so here on screen you can see when we're going to be live next and what races that we're going to be live with. So we have one more race here in Cade Fondo, and this is certainly one of my favorite maps. I'm certainly hoping that you're going to enjoy it today. It is unique and original to Cadesport, I should add. But it is also here we go. So we'll be joining the Apex Mountains for week 3 and Lake Bend for week 4. Those are all great maps actually, and I believe Apex Mountains was the first I ever rode when I did ride for the first time in Cadesport. So today is a small elevation, 12 meters of elevation gain, and we've got the riders here about to go live. And we've got a lot of familiar faces returning. And they are out and live. Esma returning here. Shaq from the Cadesport team had a very solid push for a start there. Really showing us what he's made of. Esma certainly not going to give up without a fight, however. And Pedro. We're seeing a lot of familiar names, a lot of familiar contenders for that pole position, really gunning for it right at the start. That was a somewhat unfortunate turn of events for Esma last time. Having gone through that training myself and kind of learnt those tactics myself, I can kind of see what happened. I think maybe hitting threshold or just above threshold, and I'm talking about that 5-minute threshold, maybe for a little bit too long, and unfortunately had lost that rear wheel of Homer's big effort there to kind of force a breakaway and soften the efforts of other riders. But I'm hearing rumblings that maybe Erhan is perhaps coaching Esma, father and daughter team there. Pedro holding Shaq's rear wheel. Again, we're seeing a fantastic peloton. We've seen this now in a few races. Brilliant stuff. Like, fantastic form from everyone. They're just holding this fantastic peloton that looks like they just could be towing each other. It's beautiful. Homer with the CCC team, the cool, calm and collected team, pushing on here. And we saw a big, powerful breakaway effort from Homer in the last race. So I'm wondering, is he holding back yet? I'm wondering if we're going to see some very good tactics like what we saw last time. And he's just going to open up both barrels, take a dab of the hot sauce, if you will. Not sure where I'm going with that hot sauce analogy, but you see what I mean. Casey really pushing on here. Nice big breakaway. But this is early doors for a breakaway. Anything can happen right now. We are seeing those power numbers dip a little bit. And this is where knowing where your tactics can come into play is very, very important. Homer just eats that gap. So Casey Sherman, part of Team X, 3-time Illinois champion, time trial. That's fantastic. Category 3 and 4. Very impressive. In other words, we haven't seen all of the tactics from Casey yet. Carl Axel pushing ahead. Very exciting. In terms of who is placed in, first through to third the most, Carl Axel has placed the most in our competition so far. Frank Garcia from the Cadesport team looking to cause another upset. Fantastic stuff. So we see this fantastic fight for the pole position where people are just being cycled out. There you go. Frank Garcia, CEO of Cyclogent, the team behind Cadesport. Luca from Italy in the Belgian colours. We saw an incredible effort from Luca on, if I remember rightly, this was the third race of week 1, where he just stood on the cranks and just ate this gap that he had that formed against Erhan, and it was like the final 50 meters for the third place position, sorry. Oh, what's Casey doing at the back here? I bet you he's holding the sweet spot and waiting for the right moment. Very good tactic if that is the case. Erhan has eaten up a huge gap from the back of the peloton and pushed right into the front there, or close to the front. I'll tell you what, I saw a video of Erhan on his smart trainer the other day in one of the Cadesport groups, and it's legs like cannons. We've not seen everything from Erhan yet. And there we go, there's Erhan. Really showing us a pain face. Oh good, that was just a free wheel. I was hoping that wasn't a technical issue. So we got the cool, calm and collected team on the front like we did on the last race. Last race, however, it was the husband and wife team. Now we've got a different team member here. Peter Kastrop, is that? And they're doing a fantastic, absolutely fantastic tactic here of doing draft benefits. So I'm assuming Homer is going to be... Is this Homer that we're with now? No, that's Peter, isn't it? That's right, and I heard that Peter was going to be on rollers as though showing off. Holy hell. That's an incredible effort. On rollers, I'm not that confident for sure. Fantastic work, Peter. So from the Netherlands, Peter. ...44 kilometers an hour, so just absolutely chewing that tarmac. Almost melting his rubber of his tires onto that tarmac. So Homer, Triple C, Cool Calm and Collected team. So he's riding for health, recreation and charity. Some very fine reasons to ride for sure. So great team tactic here from Homer and Peter using that draft benefit, so Homer can reserve a little bit of power for those big pushes that we see him every so often. So really force that breakaway ahead, really force the peloton to really race to catch up. That's a very solid tactic, because the more of somebody's threshold you're going to eat, that especially that 5-minute threshold, the more chance you have of softening their attack against you. Ben here, looking to eat up some of that time. So Ben, and I hope I pronounce this right, Chulion, from the UK, from Team Hive, and 4-time St. Cole's Challenge finisher, and Pure Peak Grit Hall of Fame. Wow, that's awesome. I'm assuming that's a gravel race, the Pure Grit. So we've got a bit of an upset again at the lead. We've got Casey Shum really forcing ahead of Homer. Homer's not giving that up without a fight though. And there is a break in their team. So that team tactic from Peter and Homer, Peter's going to want to eat this gap to try and get that tactic going again for sure. We've got Cadesport team. They're also doing the draft benefit at the moment as a tactic. So we might see some upsets here. Christian Wiedmann back again. So Christian was the winner of the first race, and he's back. And he showed us that he's a challenger to watch. He's not just a one and done. He's really put in some solid efforts to really challenge these pelotons we've seen. Shaq from the Cadesport team coming ahead. And that's the great benefit of doing these draft tactics. If you were the one being able to ease off a bit because you got the draft, that means you can do these big powered efforts to really challenge the front of the peloton. For those who are watching who maybe aren't cyclists, what I mean by a draft benefit is, imagine you've got something ahead of you and you're on a bicycle. The wind is going to be buffeted and taken by the person in front. So you get that benefit where you're not having to push quite as hard. Casey Shum forcing ahead here. That was a big push again. So Casey Shum showing us that he's got a lot of power under the hood here. Which, yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less from a time trial rider. Here we go. The Cool, Calm and Collected team showing us why they were to be feared in that last race. And would we expect anything but power from a Dutch cyclist? There we go, Peter, looking very cool on rollers. Again, if you're not familiar with the cycling world, riding like that on rollers is, yeah, that's a lot of skill and experience going in there. So fantastic views out to sea here. Beautiful graphics that under the hood are powered by the Unity engine, but all of this creation, all of this coding is done by the Cyclogent team, and like fantastic world elements. So we're beginning to see some of that small elevation. We only have 12 meters of elevation in this map, and this is where most of it will be taking place. So as we get into this walled area, this is where we're beginning those wide sweeping turns. I actually rode this map yesterday and did it in the raw power mode. And yeah, certainly I'm familiar with the pain faces and the grit they're trying to achieve here. Pedro here looking to eat up some of this gap that unfortunately has formed with where he was. Fantastic form as always, keeping a very, very stable power. So Pedro from Portugal, again open to team invites, and I would certainly take him up on that because very consistent. So if you're one of the teams on Cadesport, yeah, I think Pedro might be your man for a new recruit. Here we go, that cool, calm and collected team really not letting go of the front. They're chewing the tarmac, chewing the asphalt. So we've finally seen Peter force enough of a breakaway that it's kind of softened that peloton, but they're certainly going to see people not letting go of that. Esma here looking to eat up some more time as well and regain that gap with the, well, it's not a peloton anymore. It's now formed into very much a pursuit up at the front there. Just solid lead here from Peter. But that, yeah, Christian Wiedmann really showing that he's a contender here again. Wow, look at that. Is this Casey that I'm following? Yeah, Casey Shum is just showing that this is what time trial cyclists are made of. Time trial cyclists, obviously very skilled in sprints. Yeah, I don't know though if this is going to be yet another case of a big powered sprint and dropping back into a sweet spot. But Casey is going to want to stay very close, get that draft benefit off of Peter. So seeing a very powerful 46 kilometers an hour up in the front. Christian Wiedmann showing us that he's still a contender and that there was a reason that he won that first race. You can see Peter when we've seen him on screen on his rollers, and you can see it in the animation of his avatar's legs here in game. It's just consistent, like pure consistency on his pedal stroke. And the same with Casey as well. These are very much to, peak of their world athletes. And this is very much, again, also a testament to the Pro Power mode that is powered by the physical equalization system right here on Cadesport, where really, like in any race, the table has changed. Are we live with Esma here? I believe this is Esma. Hey, Esma. Oh, and Casey forcing another big breakaway at the front here. I'm sorry, I should finish my thought there. So yes, the Pro Power mode that is powered by the physical equalization system here on Cadesport, it really has shown us that baseline and sweet spot area equalization, where it takes your numbers that are coming in, your power numbers, your speed numbers, all of that, and bumps it up to the level of a pro cyclist, keeps the group together, but it also causes big upsets in what might normally be out on a time trial or out on a road race. What might be the positioning, that can all change on a dime here. And wow, here as we're following Carl, Axel and Luca's big push to pursue, we're kind of seeing the huge gap that Peter has really opened up here. Peter really did break that peloton, and Casey as well, I should say. And Homer, Peter's lost Homer for sure. And again, this is maybe a fine example of how the Pro Power mode can also cause upsets. So who wins in the outside world, in the real world, might not necessarily win here. But certainly if those top athletes do want to win, they're going to have to push beyond that 100% threshold. Certainly on all the thresholds, the 1 hour, the 20 minute, the 5 minute, the 1 minute, the 20 seconds, 30 seconds, sorry. So as I said before, it's as we come through this industrial area that we're making the big turn back south, heading into those final 5 or 6 kilometers of today's race. Peter keeping very consistent in the rollers. Looks like he's gone up to a much higher tension gear. Oh wow, Carl Axel really ate that gap that had formed. Again, maybe another fine example of how the Pro Power mode here can cause some major upsets. So Carl Axel really gunning it somewhere in Sweden and really showing us that he's a repeat contender. And here we are, Christian Wiedmann making another push to eat some of that gap. Fast feet, as we can see from his avatar. Yep, nice big, powerful pedal strokes. Carl Axel, wow. What an upset. That seemed a surefire thing with Peter and Casey there. But Carl Axel probably showing us that he's going to remain our top, how did I describe that earlier? Like our most ranked player. Our rider who's hit the top 3 the most. And Luca here looking to gain some of that time back. So it's a 12-second lead that Carl has opened up. Christian here and Homer. So unfortunately that team, they've lost each other, Peter and Homer. But I'm sure Homer's looking, oh here we go, Homer's making a big push. I knew he was holding something in the tank there. Trying to shake Christian, but Christian is saying, nope, I'm getting that draft benefit whether you like it or not. Carl is successfully at the moment holding that lead, holding that gap. But as we saw earlier, upsets can happen on a dime. So let's see if he can keep this going. This might be his first pole place position in the races. He's consistently come around about the 3rd position. Luca is eating a sizable amount of that gap. Oh, we're seeing some great tactics here from Casey and Peter trying to shake each other with lane selection. That's brilliant. That's one of the best uses of the lane selection tactic that I've seen yet. Very exciting. Trying to deny each other draft benefit. So Carl still successfully keeping that gap going. But we saw that Peter is a very powerful rider earlier. And it looks like what we saw on the webcam there, that he's maybe slowed his cadence a bit just to keep a little bit in the tank. Luca pushing ahead. Go in for that 2nd place position. And Casey, again, this is where time trial riders are dangerous. They have many sprints in the tank. Oh wow, this is going to be exciting for 2nd and 3rd. Luca selecting a different lane and really pushing out. Oh, here we go. So we saw Luca pushing a big sprint at the back there. But has Carl Axel just got it in the bag already? Oh wow, big sprints for all 3 of them. And Carl, yeah, just easily taking it. Well done, Carl. Fantastic. We've seen Carl push up from those 3rd place rankings right into that 1st place. Peter getting 2nd, Luca 3rd, Casey is being pushed back to 4th, but wow, Casey showed us some true power there. And I believe in a minute here we're going into a different map for a race here. All right, so Carl Axel just absolutely stealing it today. I'm trying to figure out what that is. That's about a 4-second lead. So So Peter did a fantastic job to eat as much of that lead as he did. Peter just really showing us his power there, and by a nose against Luca. And yeah, Luca showing us again that he has got it all in that final push sprint, and he's taken that advice, that age-old advice that cyclists are given of holding the sweet spot, hold everything back for that final push and then push there. He's taken that to heart and really used it to his advantage. Casey just being edged out for a third place, but really showing us what he's made of. And Christian, wow, eating as much of a gap as he was given. Fantastic. Homer again, we saw a lot of power, but again, that pro power mode, showing us that it's anybody's game and showing us that upsets can be caused on any given ride, and really showing us what that physical equalization system can do under the hood there. So Frank and Shaq keeping pretty solidly together as a team, so really showing us that they can hold good formation as a team for the Cadesport team. Pedro, I know Pedro's not out for the count yet. We're going to see more from Pedro yet, and certainly from Ben, who was a winner in, oh, what was that? Was that the final race of week 1? And here we've got Erhan, again showing us that they can keep a solid team together, keep a solid formation, which is a very, very good technique to have in your skill set. And I know that Erhan and Esma are not out for the count yet. We're going to see something big from them soon. All right, well, thank you for joining us, everybody. Absolutely fantastic race today. Wow, great upsets, great effort there from Carl. Well done, Carl. And fantastic first race for Peter, really showing us what he's made of as his first introduction into these races, live here on the Pro Power Preview series of races on Cadesport. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back on Saturday, and we are going to have something equally as entertaining, I'm sure, for the final race on Cade Fondo.